Hi guys, and welcome back to another Tech Minds video. So in this video, we're going to take a quick look at this Xiegu GNR1. Now this is a clever little device that provides audio noise cancellation and also has low cut and high cut adjustment filters. Now most modern radios will likely already have DSP inbuilt. Now some work better than others and some work amazingly. Now in the box you get a wall mains power supply, as this requires a 12-volt DC supply. You also get a 3.5mm to 3.5mm stereo audio cable. There's also a manual, which is well worth a read, even just to understand how each of those controls can be used. Now the GNR1 is made fully of metal, well at least the case, so it's safe to say it's pretty well screened from those stray RF signals. The front panel hosts a power LED, a clip LED which illuminates when the input audio level is too high. There's also a power button on the bottom left, just next to that rotary input level control. Then we have an NR rotary control. Now this controls the amount of noise reduction which is applied to the incoming audio signal. Turned totally anti-clockwise will almost be no noise reduction at all, and turning this control to the right will start to apply more and more noise reduction. The L and H rotary controls are to either control the low cut amount or the high cut amount. Now low cut has an adjustment range from 5Hz to 1280Hz, and high cut has an adjustment range from 500Hz to 5616Hz. Now imagine we have the audio signal here in the center, spreading out across that filter bandwidth. Adjusting the low cut digital filter would move that low cut boundary towards the middle. Now the same goes for the high cut control. Adjusting this control would bring the high cut boundary towards the center. Now I'll let you hear what this sounds like shortly in the video. Now the output control on the right is again a rotary control, and this controls the processed audio output volume. And whether you're monitoring this with headphones, speakers or another amplifier, or even a pair of active speakers, the output controls all of those outputs. You'll also notice a front-mounted 3.5mm socket. Now this is to be used with headphones, and having it on the front actually makes it super accessible. On the rear, towards the left, we have an RCA-style phono socket, which I presume is a line-level output. Output 2, which again is a 3.5mm socket, appears to be a direct speaker connection, which can output up to 3 watts of audio power. Now the other 3.5mm socket is for the audio input, which can be of low or high impedance, and that's selectable using that high and low switch, which is just next to that socket. Then we have the 12-volt DC power input socket, and this is where we can use the included wall mains power supply. Now the GNR1 adds DSP features to radios or receivers that do not have this feature, and that's simply performed by installing the GNR1 between the radio or receiver and some speakers. Now looking at this rather crude mishmash of images, this is a typical use case. On the bottom left we have an old receiver or maybe a transceiver, and the audio output from this, whether it's taken from a line out or speaker out or headphone out, that will then connect to the input of the GNR1. So the output of the GNR1 would then be connected to a pair of speakers, headphones or even an amplifier. Now in this example, these speakers are active or have a built-in amplifier. Now so that you can hear the direct output from the GNR1, I've connected mine to a USB sound card in the form of the universal radio controller that I've shown before in another video. Now I'm only using this as an audio input into my computer to aid recording the audio output from the GNR1 directly. It makes more sense to do this than to have a microphone next to a speaker. This way you get to hear it in more clarity. Now I'd like to quickly thank today's video sponsor, and that's JLC PCB. Now if you do not know who JLC PCB is, well, they're a one-stop shop for everything related to PCB manufacturing at a fraction of the cost compared to others. They're affordable and provide a fast and high-quality service. JLC PCB can manufacture 1 to 8 layer PCBs, and with a fast lead time of up to just 24 hours, their strict quality control is trusted by over 5.4 million customers around the world. Now, JLC PCB has an in-house production guaranteeing consistent quality for prototypes and large orders. The ordering process is super easy with instant quotes and a very user-friendly platform which includes real-time tracking of your order. So if you want to DIY your PCBs, JLC PCB is the best choice. Even multi-layer PCBs are incredibly affordable. 6-layer PCBs start at only $35. Now you can also get a $30 coupon for 6-layer PCBs on their website. That means you can experience high-quality multi-layer PCBs for just $5.
I'm really just testing this thing because we've got a holiday in April.
Long in the tooth now, so that was like bad enough trying to keep up straight with your not normal pavement, slippery and slidey. Normally you sort of overdo it. Well, you know, you sort of stay extra careful, and that's when you can come along.
The sort of 2 days out of every 6 years that he gets snow or something stupid, and we get cut off, and we literally are so. But we're prepared for that. It's part of where we live. But I just wonder, well, to ask you a question. Up here, talking about weather and winter and roads and pavement.
Auf einem Wind wie ein Vogel, mein lieber Ronald, das ist 800 Sugar, Golf 800 Sugar, diese Auto und leider im Moment kaputt und meine Antenne steht genau nach
so für einen Tag loszufahren, also hier einfach nur auf der Insel rumzukreuzen, das ist nicht so meins. Ich fahre dann lieber mal so 2-3 Tage weg und komme dann wieder, übernachte irgendwo schön und lasse es mir gut gehen in irgendeinem netten Hotel und fahre dann wieder hierher zurück. Nein. Meine letzte Tour war ungefähr vor 2,5 Monaten. Da bin ich in Albanien unten gewesen, habe den Fritz besucht, den ZA-DL, was hat der eigentlich? DL9, DL8 NDR, glaube ich, DL9 NDR.
to the border, and that can sometimes give a little bit extra punch for the signals. Yes, and fine with the nice weather you have down there.
Now, yes, I'm fully aware that I'm using this with an extremely modern radio, so the receiver's already very good. Of course, this demonstration would have been better using an older, non-SDR based ham radio or receiver, but I just don't have any of that old gear to test with. Now, strangely enough, over the past year, I've actually received 2 other supposedly DSPs from those cheeky Chinese sellers, and they were that bad that they didn't even make it into a video. Now, this is the first external DSP that I've received that actually does something close to what it's supposed to do. Now, if you have a modern radio, then I highly doubt this would add any benefit. But if you have some older radios without DSP, then this is definitely worth a try. Now, let me know in the comments below which radio you would test this on to clean up those noisy receivers. If you have one, let me know too. Let me know what you think of it and does it work for you. Now, I got this Xiegu GNR 1 from Radioolity, who are an authorized reseller of Xiegu gear. So if you're interested in one, then check the link in the description for a little bit of money off if you're going to order one or anything else from Radioolity website. Anyway, guys, just want to say thank you to my members and my patrons, and obviously all of you subscribers and those that watch my videos. And until the next video, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.